Yeah, I feel for this gene key, the 39, since it's my north node, that I can tap into it a little bit in the beginning because it's been such a big part of my journey to not judge myself for my provocation. From when I'm in a container, when I'm in a group, when I'm in a shamanic field, um, I'm going to be provoking things. I'm going to, and or better than saying that, because provocation itself has a bit of a low frequency. I'm going to stir things up. And in a lot of what's been plant medicine or more like tantric shamanic spaces, I've always had that role. Not that anybody put me in that role, but I realized in those fields that's what I'm doing. The 39 for me is more than just somebody who teases and flirts. In human design, we often hear that it pokes, it teases, and it flirts. And for me, that is a very kind of human expression of it. I like to feel the depth of the 39 more as the Cancer energy that really is okay with any emotional response or reaction because she knows it's worth it because of love. She is ready to stand there to face anything for the purpose of love. And she knows that, especially in the family, Cancer is the fourth house. It's a lot of like family energy. And in family, it's often where we have those dynamics where we don't feel seen, we don't feel heard, we don't feel special, maybe. And the 39 says, I can face all that. I can stand there with you so that we can open that shell that the crab has and that is hiding inside. We don't have to walk sideways. We can actually see each other eye to eye and we can come back to love together. So for me, the 39, it's about returning to love. And it's about taking all those emotional waters that are there and not be afraid of swimming in them, saying it's worth it, because that's the way we come back into what family truly is. The 39 is an excellent troubleshooter. The sixth line in the line companion of human design calls it a troubleshooter. So it's here to guide. It's here to have that bigger perspective. So it's not only in the family that where it can have this energy of dynamism that sees solution and that guides. Um, and it's a different kind of responsibility than we have on the other side of the wheel, where we have Capricorn in the 38, which is more about that kind of responsibility and more of like an outer mastery. In the Cancer, we have an inner mastery, and it moves through water. But together they are a couple. And I wrote in the 39 that they're lovers. And you can see that very more feminine energy in the 39, and the more masculine energy in the 38, the warrior and the goddess of love and emotion. Um, and there's also a third gene key that comes in for me with these two, and that's the 28, that is about purpose. So the 28 says it's always about purpose. And you can see that in the body graph, we have those three, where the 38 and the 39 are going out of the root center. So that fuel, that energy, strong energy. And then we have the 28 in the spleen, that is about intuition and that inner knowing that there has to be a purpose. Life has to be worth it. Love has to be worth it. So that's what I would like to introduce this 39 gene key with, and the archetype that we call the liberator. So Simone, please come in and do your magic.
Oh, thank you so much, Bella, for that amazing foundation. So we so appreciate it. The 39, when I asked to communicate, it came through as a lightning strike, and it came through kind of at a diagonal, maybe like 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock through my vessel. And it laughs, you know. It's saying to me, like, you didn't expect me to come in like this. And I was like, well, I didn't know what to expect. And the liberator says, you're easy. But, you know, the unexpected entry point is part of what the liberator is saying. Um, she's bringing a lightning bolt through the back of me, like through my third chakra out into, you know, through the front of my third chakra. And I really do feel like I'm in a lightning storm. And maybe if I weren't so at peace and relaxed, I'd be afraid or shaken up. And as she's doing this with me, bringing all these lightning bolts through my field, what it takes me to is when I lived in the desert out in the country in Tucson. I lived at the foot of the Rincon Mountains, and the lightning storms used to come in the summer. And it was very provocative. It was, in a sense, terrifyingly beautiful, hard to look away from. And sometimes the lightning storm was at the distance and it felt safe to stay outside and feel one with it. And other times the lightning strikes got so close that it didn't feel safe to stay outside. And um, the the 39 is saying, this is what I'm talking about. When does the provocation feel safe and unsafe? And this is the place for you to examine. When are you provoked and you feel, oh, this is safe? It's allowing me to open up. And when does it not feel safe? And she says, I'm not saying either one is right or wrong, good or bad. I'm not making a judgment about how you feel by provocation. I'm showing you that these are the places to look inside. And when you feel unsafe, there's a discernment. When you feel unsafe by a provocation, that's when you use discernment. Is this for my highest good or not? And when it is not, it's to really understand, is this true? Or is this a place for me to open up? And she's showing us how it's fine shades of meaning. Like each provocation, you know, it's easy or it's not. It's easy or it's not. And where it's not, if you even go inside of that, it's easier and it's not. And I feel like I'm in the middle of a geometry, the sacred geometry of the spiral, right? Because when you have the golden mean, when you draw a golden mean, it's like doubled, but each time you double the space, it the spiral gets bigger. But in this instance, the liberator, the 39, is taking us on the internal trajectory. So if you look at how a golden mean is drawn, and you went from the double big size to the half size, and then inside that is another half size and another half size and another half size. So every time you feel, you make the discernment of safe, not safe, and you go into, well, what's not safe? And then is that true or is that not true? Well, if it's true, okay, but if it's not true, what's not true? And then you go into that, and is that true or is that not true? And what's the discernment? Each discernment takes us in on an internal spiral if we allow it. So the liberator is almost a pathway in to the self. And that's what the 39 is showing us on this internal spiral in. And the liberator says, you know, going in is not always easy, because sometimes, you know, she shows it to me almost like a closet. If you had a big walk-in closet, and some people keep all their clothes neatly hung up and folded, and you know where everything is and you can find it, and others of us have closets that look like they've been tossed, and so you want something and you can't find it, you have to search for it. And in a sense, she's, you know, it's easy to go in, use that internal spiral, the golden mean, to go inside of ourselves when we have seen what's in our closet. But when everything's tossed on the floor and we haven't dealt with what we've tossed on the floor, going in can be harder and harder. And when you get to that, is this true or is this not true? Discernment on the internal journey. If we haven't done our work, it's hard because we have to search through so much. We have to pick up, we have to clean, we have to sort through. So there's work when we haven't done our work. And the 39 is kind of laughing because she says at some point everybody gets to the place where they haven't done their work. So, you know, if provocation is in a sense a portal inward, there's always a place where you haven't gone before. So, you know, don't be so judgy. Like we must be judging ourselves or others, because she's like, don't look around and judge everyone, because everybody gets to the level, the internal spiral in, where we haven't been. And, you know, she shows that some of us have empty closets and others have tossed closets at so many levels. But the liberator is taking us on an internal journey, and that's, you know, the transcendence is the internal journey. And she's laughing, like she's so laughing. She, you know, for it's so interesting to see her sense of humor, to have I'm having a visceral experience of how she's fierce, but she has this sense of humor, this lightheartedness within her, that she you know, it's as if she so understands herself and her role and is happy, you know, with what her role is, that it doesn't matter how she's provoking us, whether it's through something that's funny or sad or hard or whatever, shocking, doesn't matter. That from the place of love, um, from the place of self-love, there is a lightheartedness. I asked her, was there something else she wanted to say before we open up for questions or engagement? She goes, no, let's, she wants to be with the group. So does anyone have a question? Or
Yes, please, Simone.
yes, baby.
So my friends just walked in the room as well, and we've both got a conjunction with the 39 line 6, and we've been co-creating together. And my 39 line 6 is my conscious Saturn, and my lovely friend here, Laura, she has an evolution 39 line 6. And funnily enough, just today we suggested that we do some shadow work together around Byron Katie's work, which is what I feel you've been reflecting with the going inward, with the is this true, not true questioning technique. So this is really poignant. So I just wondered what our souls have to say with regards to doing this work together.
Well, the 39 says, in terms of your work together, is that what's true and what's not true or untrue is going to be different for each of you. So if you can imagine two golden mean spirals paralleling each other, that you will provoke each other because something will feel definitively untrue or definitively true in, say, you, Phoebe, but it won't in Laura. And that will provoke both of you. That the other person isn't, you know, it has the potential to provoke both of you, but that's why you're doing this work. And so the 39 says, allow each your own journey. And, you know, this is a message for all of us, right? Because there are things in life that you can be with your soulmate or your partner or your ride or die person, like Bella. Not, you know, like I feel like Bella is my ride or die. And, you know, you can be right next to them, and what provokes one of you is not going to provoke the other. And it's impossible because our dynamic makeup is so different. And it's to have the courage to allow someone else's discernment to be different from yours without a charge. And the 39 says, if y'all can hold each other in this space, that your work will be incredibly dynamic for not only both of you, but for what you change in the world by being able to be completely clear about something for you when it is completely clear that that meaning makes no sense or does not resonate in the field of someone else.
Thank you.
Great. I mean, I understand the value of that for all of us. So thank you so much for bringing that example up.
Let's bring Ellen in with both the 39 and the 52.
Fantastic, Ellen.
Thank you. I have a question about the breath and how the breath relates to both the 52 and the 39. And I don't know exactly what the question is, just I feel like there's a connection there, and then also like a difference there. So I'm wondering how the breath may bring them together, and then how it is different between each key.
Oh, that's a fabulous, fabulous question. So the Liberator is showing me that, you know, with provocation, it's easy to kind of wrap our heads around that. When we're provoked, we, you know, our nervous systems feel like they're hit. We might feel like, you know, we you know, have a blow to us. And so it's easy to understand that our breath may stop when we are provoked, and that it, you know, may take us a minute. And for some provocations that get that create nervous system loops, it can hold us in, you know, or different, you know, the provocation may have occurred years ago, but we're still in the nervous system loop. When something catalyzes that loop, that we hold our breath and we stop. So the 39 is showing how it's easy for us to imagine that through the 39, we can experience this stopping and starting of the breath. And it's harder for us to imagine it with the 52 because of the stillness. You know, we relate stillness with finding our breath. And yet the 39 shows that it is very challenging for some people to be still and to be in the breath of the 52, because for some, stillness is the trigger. For some, in a sense, they're trapped in the dissonance of the internal and the external. They're caught in the loop of not understanding why what's inside of them appears different from what's outside of them, and what's outside of them appears to be different from what's inside of them. And so it can be more challenging to understand how the breath is hard with the 52, and yet it has its own challenges. And even though the 39 is showing it to me in terms of the movement, right? Because with the going within, with the geometry of this golden mean taking us inside and inside, and continually, perpetually looking at each level or space we go into, and having different things from within us or without us catalyze that trajectory. There's a movement there that's easy to kind of wrap our heads around. But then the 39 takes me to the 52, and it also is internal, but it's internal in a different way. It's like, the best way I can describe what I'm seeing is it's internal from our DNA. Because that buzzing, that vibration, the B resonance, we either feel it ignited from the external bees or the internal bees. But if we can't feel the internal bees, that's where the dissonance is. That's where, in a sense, the leakage is. So it's what's fascinating to me as I watch the 39 is that both of these are internal journeys. It's just one is more quantum in one cell and every cell, and one is more, the lightning does come into the body from external. So maybe the ignition is external through the liberator, but then it takes us on an internal journey. So it's where that internal journey begins, if you will. Ellen, we went so far and I was so deep into that. I was, I hope this answered your question or gave you insight, but, feel free to continue the conversation here.
Yeah, I think it's like, to me, they feel so similar, like you're saying. So I think, I don't know, I think I'm getting like a little confused between the two, but I don't know if that's because they're both prominently in my design, but I love that. I love that it's so similar, but in different ways. Like yeah.
Yeah, the 39 is saying, sit with it and listen to the replays, and it'll come to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. The discernment will come. Let's if we can do maybe one more and then we'll wrap this up. Does anyone else have a question? Or
I have a question, Simone, about the sixth line, because I always feel like the sixth line has a wisdom to it and that it contains all the other lines. So I wonder how to embody the 39.6 for all of us, and what will happen in the world when we do it more and more.
Well, that is so fascinating, and I think it actually ties to something that that part of the message that was coming through with Ellen. So when you asked the question, what I saw was, imagine that, let's go back to the first image where the 39 was using lightning strikes, right? So lightning comes from outside of us into us, out, and then, you know, exits us or stops inside of us. But then what the 39 did when you asked this question was, I was in every cell. I was in the DNA, and I was in the fractal of that within us. So, you know, the initial picture is from the external to into us or through us. But when you ask the 6-line question, it's as if that the lightning strikes are coming from inside our DNA, inside our own cellular structure, our own biology and chemistry. It's a part of who we are. And as I'm describing this, it's as if we're provoking ourselves to evolution, that somehow the lightning strike is embedded in us, that it's not coming from outside of us, that with the 6th line, the provocation is also DNA, cellular structure work, and that we are provoking the world we live in by simply living the provocation from within ourselves. And as the 39 describes this, I feel what the 52 was bringing to us. So I hope that if you have a follow-up or more clarification, or if that makes sense, let me know.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Maybe one more question, if there is one, before we continue, because it was short. Or how do you feel, Simone?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. It's, if we have time, we can do one more question. So does anybody want to join us in this?
Can I ask another question, or does someone else have one?
Go for it, Ellen.
Thanks. I was looking at the artwork on the Unlock Your Design, and it's the mountain with the water flowing down the mountain. And I just wanted to know more about the water flowing, and yeah, the water flowing.
From the perspective of the 39, or?
Yes, yeah, the 39.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what the 39 shows me. So imagine the water flowing down the mountain, and over time, water seeps through the mountain, through the rock, and underneath it is eroding structures. The water is constantly eroding structures. And eventually it's that water that will, you know, it breaks through and creates the pathway for complete transformation. So there's always, the 39 says, there's always water in the mountain. Water's always finding its way. And in that, it should inspire us, because water is always finding a way in. It always finds a way deeper and deeper and deeper in. And when the water has eroded everything, complete new structures form. And, you know, the 39 loves that, because it's the ultimate liberation.
Oh, thank you. I felt that. That was amazing. I was like, yes. Thank you.
Question. Yeah, I love that. Well, I feel like that is a completion for today. you guys, everyone who's joined us has just simply been brilliant in your co-creation with the 39 today. And thank you so much. What Bella and I know about soul communication is that when we show up, we're willing to go within the body. The soul reveals and it holds us all. And we have shared in our collective inquiry process, which is part of bringing the transmission fuller in its most powerful way possible for today. So thank you, thank you, thank you.